verse number 30. It it basically one moment. Okay. So in this particular verse, Krishna or this section, Krishna has talked about how the soul is immortal, how the body is temporary, and once one gets knowledge about the immortality of the soul and about the temporary nature of the body, one will start performing actions towards the uh, towards the right understanding and towards the basically upliftment from a spiritual path perspective, towards basically every action which will be directed towards the eternal aspect. One will stop performing the temporary activities or activities which have temporary results. Okay, so that doesn't mean we will have to ignore our body. Definitely we will have to take care of the body, but we will not over indulge in the sense gratification. We will do only to the extent that is minimum mandatory requirement. Okay, now the question that Arjun had asked was, or argument that he had put forward was, uh, he had material compassion for the body of the relatives and friends, because of which he was worried that if he fights, they will be killed, and he wouldn't like that. So that's why Krishna talked about from the body and the soul perspective. He talked about how the body is temporary in nature, is anyway subjected to death, irrespective of whatever situation it is. And on a regular basis, the body dies, takes birth, body dies, takes birth, and the soul moves from one body to another. And the soul is eternal. So this aspect was able to convince Arjun about the first argument. Okay. So, do you think Bhagavad Gita is painting some kind of a pessimistic picture about death? What do you think? Anybody?
Can you repeat the question?
It is, I'm asking, does Bhagavad Gita put up or paint a negative picture about by talking about death?
It's telling
To
the
some
reality, Prabhu.
Yeah,
or reality,
right.
but somehow like it uh, I do feel a little pessimistic after going through all of this. I mean that what is the reason for living? Because ultimately you're going to die. All these things are going to happen. So it doesn't paint a very rosy picture about living, honestly.
Hmm. Okay, so let's look at it in this way. Actually, good that you mentioned it so nice, honestly. So what happens is when you look at life from the perspective of just one birth, start of the life at birth and end of the life at death, then there is a good chance that we might think that this is so pessimistic, right? But when we look at life from multiple births perspective, and we can relate the birth and death with bubbles in the ocean. Bubbles constantly come and they get basically broken, and a new bubble is created. Again, that is also broken. So if this is assumed to be the phenomenon similar to birth and death, then you would not lament uh, on the breakage of a bubble, or you would not rejoice as well if a new bubble is created. Bubbles keep coming, keep going, right? Now look at it from another perspective also, that death is inevitable, right? We all agree to it. Now if somebody hides this fact from us, what will happen? Okay, we may think that it is positive. Oh, life is so nice, so beautiful, nature is so beautiful, and man-made creations are so beautiful, and all that. Everything is nice, it looks positive. But now you compare with why did you take birth on this planet? Why did you enter into this body? So we had a specific objective to fulfill, to walk on the spiritual path and do as much bhakti as possible and get rid of the cycle of birth and death, right? Will we be able to achieve the objective if we ignore this possibility of death altogether, right? Let's take another example. Okay, um, there are certain people in the society who perform unlawful activities, and that uh, warrants a punishment for them. So when this punishment is given, okay, they are put in a prison. Okay, let's assume if this prison had absolutely A1 class facilities, yeah, the best of the beds, the best of the bedrooms, AC, and fantastic flooring, people, servants ready to serve those people over there with, 7 course dinner, 24 hours TV, and everything is going on, internet, high speed, everything, the best of the devices are there, women, wine, whatever you want, everything is there, right? Who would want to come out of the prison in such a scenario? Nobody, right? They will think, oh, my life in prison is so better than the life outside. Why would I want to come? And everything is paid for by the government. I don't need to even earn anything and I get everything, the best of the facilities. Nobody would want to come out of the prison. So this is what the current world is. Okay? If this world doesn't have a problem, who would want to basically come out of the world? Who would want to walk on the spiritual path, which promises getting rid of the cycle of birth and death? Who would want? Nobody. So that's why it is very much necessary to understand the pain of material life, and one of the pains is death. So hiding this fact of death and not talking about it doesn't make it positive or doesn't make it palatable for hearing. The earlier one realizes this reality and accepts this fact, the faster one can walk on the spiritual life.
One small question.
Yes, please.
If when all souls were created by God, okay, all souls were pure, so the account was clear, the karma account was clear,
Correct.
okay, then why did God put a body to the soul for it to start going into this karma cycle completely? If they were pure, it should have just left them. Why were human beings created? That is another, I
Okay.
mean.
So, did you read that third canto, chapter number 31? Last time we spoke about it.
No, no.
Okay. So, you would get that answer in the first verse of 31st chapter. Okay. So, what does Krishna say there? Okay, Kapil Munia. Look at the words. Karmana daiva netrena jantur deho papatyaye. Okay. So, under the supervision of the Supreme Lord and according to the result of his work, the living entity, the soul, is made to enter into the womb. Okay. So, there are two factors that become applicable here. One is karma and the other is desire. I may have a zero account of karma, but I may have a desire to drink 100 liters of liquor. Sorry, very bad example, but just for the sake of it. I may want to drink, I may want to bathe in liquor. My karma is zero. So, why this is important? I answered this question in the Marathi Bhagavad Gita class 2-3 weeks back. So, why this is important? We need to understand it from the creation perspective. Okay, when the creation happened, okay, the meaning the original nature of the soul is jivera swarupa hai nitya krishnera dasa. Okay, the original function, meaning, the prime responsibility or the prime function. We have job responsibilities, job functions, right, in our professional life. Similarly, the soul, the prime activity is we are the servants of Krishna. इट मे बी डिफिकल्ट यार, मैं सर्वेंट कैसे हूं, मैं तो मैनेजर हूं, तो अपने को ऐसा थोड़ा बुरा लगेगा. बट द पॉइंट इज, वी we are the servants at the level of soul. We are the servants of Krishna. So what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to serve Krishna. Okay. At certain point of time, when we felt, yaar, hamesha, why should I serve Krishna? Why should I not serve myself? So when that desire developed, okay, we, either the material world was created for us or we were put in the material world, which may have already been created. तो अभी क्या हुआ है, fulfillment of desire becomes Krishna's responsibility. So for that fulfillment, he has to create the necessary arrangements. ओके, एक नाइस ब्यूटीफुल मटेरियल वर्ल्ड क्रिएट होना जरूरी है. इट शुड हैव ऑल द इंग्रेडिएंट्स, इट वी शुड हैव द सेंसेस आल्सो बाय व्हिच वी कैन एंजॉय इट एंड देन बी satisfied about it. But it comes at a cost, that you do wrong, you will get punishment, you do good, you will have to enjoy that. So कर्मा का अकाउंट प्लस माइनस होते रहेगा वो बार बार. But at a certain point of time, because we should understand that this is not the ultimate place for us, this is temporary for us, he has to give us, shocks in between, so that we realize कि यार हमें ऊपर जाना है करके. तो ये कर्मा का अकाउंट भले ही जीरो था, बट हमारी डिजायर ऐसी थी कि वी वांटेड टू एंजॉय अवे फ्रॉम कृष्णा फॉर आवर सेल्फ, बिकॉज ऑफ विच दिस होल मटेरियल वर्ल्ड हैज बीन क्रिएटेड. This is at a very, very high level that I'm talking about. When we come to Srimad Bhagavatam, then we will understand the far, far deeper philosophy behind creation. Okay. तो ये करने के लिए when he gives us these arrangements, we have to sensibly enjoy them. Okay. And also not lose the focus on our spiritual purpose, जिसके लिए हमें ये बॉडी मिली है. तो हम लोग ये भूल जाते हैं, एंड देन वी गेट एंटेंगल्ड इन माया, वी परफॉर्म एक्टिविटीज व्हिच वी आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू डू, एंड देन द साइकिल ऑफ कर्मा कंटिन्यूज. आई एम श्योर दिस वुड हैव not fully satisfied you with the answer, but it's a far deeper topic. सब 5-10 मिनट में नहीं बात कर सकते हम लोग. एंड भागवतम जब हम लोग सीखेंगे, you will get far, far detailed answers on this one. But does that at least give you some basic stuff?
It does, but it also gives rise to some questions, but I don't want to take up the time of the class, so
मैं एक काम करता हूँ, मैं you understand Marathi, right? Well,
yes,
हाँ, so
yes.
एक काम करता हूँ मैं, in one of the classes, I think 1 or 2 Saturdays before, no, I had answered this question in a sufficient detail in the Marathi class. I'll forward the link to you. Go through it,
Sure.
and then let us discuss if there is any pending query.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for raising this question. It's quite important. It automatically comes into our mind. Okay. So this basically Bhagavad Gita is actually not painting a negative picture. Bhagavad Gita is in fact telling us in a very positive manner that don't worry, death is not termination. Death is just one halt, one stop. It's a long journey. So death can be pessimistic when we understand death as a termination. The material world in fact is painting a negative picture about death, because death में सब कुछ चला गया आपका. तो then the question should come, अरे मेरा सब कुछ जाने ही वाला है at the end of life, then why should I earn? That should be the question one should get for himself. बट फिर भी हम लोग मालूम है कि डेथ के बाद कुछ नहीं है, ऐसे लोगों को लगता है, उनको मालूम है. डिस्पाइट दैट दे रन आफ्टर मनी व्हिच दे नो that it will not remain with them after death. But in fact, Krishna is painting a positive picture saying that don't worry, whatever spiritual wealth you have earned, you will start from that point onwards in your next life. तो ये तो पॉजिटिव हो गया ना फिर. What do you think?
I don't know. The question that is in my mind is a little off track now. So
Okay. Maybe you can speak up, no problem. In fact, we have reached 8:47 now.
Okay.
Probabilities we will not be able to do 31 and 32 today. So we will take it up in the next week. No problem. You can ask your question.
Okay. So my question is a little out of topic, which says that, which I think that you just mentioned that because there is desire and the soul, God wants to fulfill your desire. So he takes the soul through, he gives you material body and takes you through it. And then, so that you realize, you're spiritually, you get better. So my question then becomes, is God being selfish by wanting people to go on the spiritual path, and that's why giving this? Because a soul is pure. The desire, who puts a desire in the soul? Because the soul, so
Soul, Krishna
so
does not put the desire in the soul.
yeah. So my question is that why put the soul itself through all this life and death and everything, so that we just realize and we reach closer to God? If a soul is pure, where the account has not even started, the karma account has not even started, then all souls can be with God and everything can be same. So why go through this entire circle, of different lives to reach spirituality when you could have been a very spiritual soul right from day one?
Okay, let me ask a counter question on this one. Let's say you have a child who wants to uh, hold some say sharp instrument. Okay, what will you do? Let's have
Of,
a question answer session.
so of course, you're going to, tell the child that it's going to harm you. Don't
Correct,
do it. Yeah,
correct.
correct.
So he continues. No, I want it. What will you do?
Yeah, after some time, you'll say, okay, you learn a lesson yourself.
And okay, and then what will you do? You
Then,
will
if the
give it
child,
to them.
no,
You
you
will
won't
give.
give it, but if the child is, then you want the child to learn it themselves. So,
Ah,
गिरेगा तो सीखेगा. That's what you're
correct.
saying.
So what
But
will you do in that case then?
then after he finishes or he gets hurt or whatever, then you explain to him that this is what I was trying to tell
Okay.
you, and this is what.
Can I interrupt you? Sorry. So
Yes, please.
what it means, there was a time when you were not giving it to him by giving him the reasons why it is not good for him. But he
Correct.
continued, he persisted. एक बार नहीं, 10 बार नहीं, 50 बार आपसे आके कान में बोल रहा है, पैर पकड़ रहा है, and all that nakras that can be done. Finally, you said, okay, you learn your lesson, right? Then
Right.
what did you do? You let him have that sharp instrument, correct? Let's say बच्चा 4 साल का है, okay, he doesn't understand anything. तो वो मांग रहा है. At a certain point of time, you said, okay, you learn the lesson by yourself, and you give that sharp instrument to him. Correct? That's what you said, right?
Yes.
And finally, he will learn the lesson when he gets hurt.
Correct.
Barabar. So
Correct.
what is the moral of the story? You know that the explanation and convincing of what is right, what is wrong, can be can achieve the result up to only a certain extent. Beyond a certain level of obstinacy, explanation and convincing does not work. Agreed?
Agreed. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And in that, to that level of obstinacy, the personal experience is a better teacher than somebody else's explanation and convincing.
Okay.
Correct? So
Correct.
इसमें क्या होता है कि once he gets hurt and he realizes the harm of holding this in the manner he did is actually it's harmful for him, and he has learnt a permanent lesson from him. Correct?
Correct.
So then the probability of that child wanting to again hold a sharp knife is very low.
Correct.
बराबर है. So this is precisely the flow that is being observed or followed by Krishna. तो जब हम लोग ने ये डिजायर किया, तो वी प्रोबेबली वेयर इनोसेंट, वी डिड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड इट. तो उसने हमको एक्सप्लेन किया कि बॉस, आई एम गोइंग टू क्रिएट दिस मटेरियल वर्ल्ड फॉर यू, और you will be put into this material world. These are the
So,
problems.
sorry to interrupt now. You said that when you got this desire, then Krishna said, "Let me put you in this material world." My
उसके
question is,
पहले उसके
who were
पहले the
so?
convincing aspect was done,
Yeah,
and we
no,
still were stubborn and obstinate.
yeah, no. My question is now. Maybe I'm not understanding the bigger picture, and that's the reason I'm asking this question. Suppose you're at point zero, where you're actually where a soul actually takes the first birth, the first time, the assuming,
Okay.
wait,
हाँ.
okay,
Okay.
before it takes the first birth, okay, it's a pure soul where the karma account is zero.
Okay. I'll just sorry to interrupt you. Uh, Karma is not the only factor based on which this whole cycle is working. The start is desire.
Whose desire?
Our desire. We desired to enjoy something and not and as a service to ourselves and not to Krishna. That is why I spoke about that verse. The constitutional position of a soul is to serve Krishna. The constitutional position of a policeman is to observe the law and protect the people. Okay, when the policeman doesn't do that, okay, so he is not creating a karma. Okay, sorry, not the right word ever. So when he desires कि भाई मेरे को इनको protect नहीं करना है, तो obviously he has to perform certain activities which will actually be neglecting his duty, and that will create karma for him. तो ये वैसा ही है ये.
Okay, so correct my understanding if I'm wrong. I'm talking at the beginning, the start of the universe.
Hmm.
At that point of time,
Okay.
there was no desire because there's no physical
No,
human being.
no, desire was there. That is the reason we were put into the material world. वही मैं बोल रहा हूं मैं कि desire has given a kind of a entry pass for us into the material world. After that, the karma cycle has started.
So it's the desire of the soul, that
Yes,
means.
yes. तो इधर भी
Okay.
मीनिंग इधर भी क्या होता है when we want to go back also, the karma plays a less of a role. Desire plays a stronger role. You have the ability, you can desire to serve Krishna forever your life. Right now, from this point onwards till the last moment, you can desire, but वो desire पैदा नहीं होती. Why? Because our bad karma and the effect of the bad karma and the effect of the modes of material nature, that pulls us back, and because of which वो डिजायर आने में भी टाइम लगता है, और डिजायर अगर आता भी है तो भी द डिटर्मिनेशन एंड द नेसेसरी कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स आर नॉट देयर. इसके लिए दैट वर्स आई शोड यू ना 3.37
Yes.
where Krishna says, right? So despite knowing what is right, what is wrong, despite knowing the consequences of right and wrong, okay, we still perform the wrong action. And Arjun says, as if baladiva niyojita, as if somebody is pressurizing us to perform the wrong action, despite knowing wrong is wrong for what it is wrong and right is right for what. वो मालूम होने के बावजूद हम लोग करते हैं. दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ द लस्ट, काम वासना, to
Oh,
enjoy to
okay.
enjoy the material senses and gratify
Okay.
with the material objects. या ऐसा है.
Okay. All right. Got it. Sorry, the Deepak ji and Jesus Prabhu ji.
अरे नहीं, आई एम श्योर
I
इट
asked
वुड
too
हैव
many
हेल्प देम
questions
आल्सो.
today and took up your time as well.
नहीं नहीं, it would have helped
Actually,
them
this is our
also.
pleasure as well.
Yeah.
We are also
This
getting to know many things.
yeah, these topics are complex. These topics are complex. Um, if they are addressed and understood even at this stage of our spiritual life, it helps you progress faster. है ना. हम आपका दिमाग अच्छा है, हमारा दिमाग अच्छा नहीं, तो हम लोग ने सवाल शुरू में नहीं पूछे, हम लोग ने काफी लेट पूछे सवाल ये.
मैं भी
तो
बहुत सारे क्लास के बाद ही सवाल पूछ रही हूँ तो
माता जी, I'll tell you, I studied Bhagavad Gita from 3-4 different people, and over a period of around 3 to 4 years. मैंने 2004 साल नहीं 2003 में मैंने भगवद गीता सीखना चालू किया, and I completed studying it 3-4 times by around 2008-2009. तब जाके कुछ थोड़ी सी अकल आ गई थी. एंड फिर भी वो स्टेज पे भी ये सवाल आए नहीं थे मन में. देन जब आई स्टार्टेड टेकिंग क्लासेस एंड टीचिंग पीपल, तब ये सवाल चालू हो गए मन में आने के, बिकॉज आई वॉज गोइंग डीपर इन टू द टॉपिक. बट इट इज वेरी नाइस, एंड आई एम 100% श्योर दिस इज पार्ट ऑफ योर previous karma and previous life, that you are getting this knowledge to be able to ask such deeper questions at this point of time itself. And meaning I may not have spoken about this before, but it's a humble request to everybody. You have started walking on this path of Bhagavad Gita. Don't give up. Don't give up. आज I have taught Bhagavad Gita probably 500-700 classes हुए रहेंगे मेरे, or even more than that. But despite that I feel कि यार भगवत गीता इतनी डीप है, मुझे तो कुछ भी नहीं आता. एंड जो मजा आता है ना भगवत गीता सीखने में एंड बात करने में, you will not get that fun in any other activity. Literally. आप सीख लो भगवत गीता, let us complete all 18 chapters, and then you tell me how do you feel, how has it changed your life before you started Bhagavad Gita and after completing Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah, today itself, after a few classes itself, I feel, so much better. And I also feel how ignorant I was to, to realizing so many, or I mean, on a high level, you understand, about the soul and the body and everything. But as you, start learning more and more, it's wonderful. I mean, it opens up your eyes to so many things. And then you look back in your life as well as to, when you look at the events that have happened and everything. So it's an eye opener also.
And we have not started the section of 39 onwards till 53. ओके. अभी हम लोग 31 to 37 में जो बात करेंगे ना, it third verses 39 to 53 are a complete contradiction of that. एंड आप ही सरप्राइज हो जाएंगे कि भगवान ने इतना यूटर्न ले लिया, and he has given absolutely mesmerizing understanding about deeper topics. And when we start and even finish third chapter, उसके बाद आप मेरे को बोलना कि कर्मा रिलेटेड आपका जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग पहले था एंड जो बाद में हो गया, हाउ डिफरेंट इट इज. इट you will, meaning the a fantastic, a highly knowledgeable expert person, when he wants to talk about the topic, any topic, तो वो कैसे बात करेगा ना, methodically, in a highly structured manner. Bhagavad Gita is so deeply structured, absolutely a treat it is. 8th chapter में जब आओ जाओगे ना, तो death related Krishna talks, that whole chapter is about death. जब आपको पता चलेगा कि death is actually not pessimistic. तो डेथ के ऊपर, एंड डेथ के ऊपर इतने डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव्स में बात किया है कृष्णा ने कि एवरी 2-3 वर्सेस अ न्यू पर्सपेक्टिव कम्स अप, एंड यू विल बी मेस्मराइज्ड कि क्या डीप है भगवत गीता करके. I'm sure you will enjoy a lot. And just a humble request, please don't give up this path. There will be some questions which I may not be able to answer. There will be some questions which I may wrongly answer. Please come and slap me also for that. No problem. There might be some events that can happen in your life because of which you feel कि यार I don't want to study Bhagavad Gita. ऐसा भी हो सकता है. But still continue. Still continue. Don't give up Bhagavad Gita.
Definitely, Prabhuji, definitely we'll do that.
मीनिंग आई मीनिंग इतना ये होता है ना कि फॉर एवरी क्लास ऑलमोस्ट 1 घंटा बात करने के बाद इतनी मेहनत होती है. व्हेन पीपल गिव अप दिस पाथ ना, बहुत बुरा लगता है. एटलीस्ट
So,
फॉर माय सेल्फिश सेक, एटलीस्ट डोंट गिव अप.
Prabhuji, I just want to add, uh, actually, Manju Mataji just started getting the taste, and she will get the higher taste also once she has the prasadam also from the temple.
Yes, very true, very valid point. Actually,
Mm.
I generally don't bring up these topics because I wait for a certain level of, certain verses to be completed, so that a certain message is passed on by Bhagavad Gita. So this topic about Prasad, generally I speak after the 13th verse of third chapter is completed. Okay. So,
okay.
but you rightly brought up this point. So yes, definitely. So what happens is, So when you perform an action, okay, there are certain factors which support the execution of the action, right? Let's say I want to reach Abu Dhabi in 1 hour. Now, factors which will assist the execution of this action is I should get a taxi. I should get a driver who is equally feeling the urgency that I have. The roads should be open, no traffic should be there, right? So many factors are there. When all these factors combine together, you can achieve that objective of reaching Abu Dhabi in 1 hour, right? Similarly, when you are on the spiritual path, you want to achieve an objective, okay? All these factors of certain do's and certain don'ts, if you perform them, then it assists in, meaning, the probability of achieving the objective increases. It assists in you achieving that objective. And if there are impediments, then you will find it difficult. So that way, worshipping Tulsi Mata, eating prasad, doing chanting, associating with devotees, studying Bhagavad Gita, studying Bhagavatam, various these factors are there which actually propel you towards that goal, on that path. So that is why it is recommended, do this, don't do that, don't do this, and all that, right? So one of them is eating prasadam. So you rightly pointed out, and thanks for bringing that. Hare Krishna. Any other question? Karma ke upar, I'm sure you will have lot of questions. Okay. Um, some of these questions will get answered when we do verses from 39 till 53. Okay.
Sure.
Some of these questions will get answered by in the third chapter. But in case you have anything that's coming to your mind, please feel free to raise up that question. If I can, I will answer in detail at that time. Otherwise, we'll answer whenever the right verse comes up. Did you all go through that video of Karma by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu? दीपक प्रभु ने देखा था the other day, you said. मंजू माता जी, जीजित
No,
प्रभु,
no,
नहीं, प्लीज प्लीज
not
थोड़ा
yet.
थोड़ा 1.5 hours spare करो आप. Okay, the question answer session, the last half an hour is absolutely beautiful. Even वो भी देख लो, प्लीज देखो आप. एक
Sure.
मेरा क्लास एक घंटे के लिए नहीं आओगी चलेगा, बट आप वो देख लेना.
No problem.
I'm,
We'll do.
Sure.
it
Already
is,
saved the video to watch.
yeah, it will clarify lot of concepts. And he is a highly eloquent and highly knowledgeable speaker. I hear his lectures, gather knowledge, and बाद में वही आके कुछ उल्टा पुल्टा बात करता हूँ मैं आपसे. But if you learn from him, you are hearing from the perfect authoritative source. You will get the best of the knowledge. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
So
Krishna.
Krishna.
let's meet next week then. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you
Hare
so much, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.